Group predators prowling the savannah. Lone hunters nestled high up in trees. The fastest animal on Earth chasing its prey at over 100 kilometers an hour. Several million savannah-fueled meals spread miles across the plains. This incredible drama between predator and prey has been continually played out throughout our planet's long history. And the force driving this drama may be a unique grass growing here in the savannah. One botanist is trying to unravel the secrets behind this mammoth meadow. Amid the remarkable daily dramas played out by Africa's biggest cats. The savannah, a land of grass, a land with so few trees. Just south of the equator, the Serengeti Plains stretch across eastern Africa, through Tanzania and Kenya. This region is home to the best preserved wildlife in the world. An incredible number of creatures walk this land, including millions of wildebeest. These wildebeest never remain in one place. Instead, they migrate in immense herds all year round, searching for the grass which rules their lives. These youngsters were born earlier this year. They are able to walk and travel with their parents the day they're born. Zebras also accompany the wildebeest herds. They also migrate across these great plains in huge numbers. A small group have gathered here to quench their thirst. They pay close attention to the sounds and motions of their peers. Watering stops can be full of danger. Suddenly, the herd run for cover. An awakening male lion doesn't go unnoticed. Lions are the strongest predator of all the savannah's big cats. Other members of the pride are now on their feet, waiting for the right moment to move in. They spot their target. A zebra separated from the rest of the group. The seemingly peaceful life of the grass eaters strolling these plains is in fact a life full of danger through predatory attack. Another big cat patrolling the region is the cheetah. Cheetahs are the fastest creatures on the planet, able to reach speeds up to 100 kilometers per hour. These two males have spotted a feeding opportunity. A herd of wildebeest. Cheetahs' lives are also dominated by hunting herbivores. Few trees grow on the plain, but within those that do, you'll often find another member of the big cat family. This leopard uses the tree as a lookout post in search of its prey. It soon spots a small herd of gazelle and creeps into action. Leopards also survive by hunting herbivores, and trees provide the perfect safe storage for their kills. It's a never-ending battle between the meat-eating predators and their grass-eating prey. This game of survival takes place throughout these plains. The endless dramas continue day in, day out. These grasslands are home to over 1,000 leopards, around 600 cheetahs, and approximately 2,500 lions. Nowhere else on Earth is there such a huge density of large predators living side by side. The simple reason why so many predators are able to survive here is because of the incredible number of herbivores available as prey. 1.7 million wildebeest are estimated to graze these plains. Zebras number around 200,000. And the smaller gazelles at approximately 1 million extra to the total. Collectively, they amount to over 3 million creatures which migrate continuously in search of food. $10 million tons of grass grows on the Serengeti each year. This huge quantity fuels the migration of herbivores. Grass is the driving force behind this mammoth and continuous movement. But it appears that the Serengeti plains function in an entirely different way than most ordinary grasslands. Exactly what in this particular region possesses such a power to fuel the movement of these massive herds of animals? One person hopes to unravel the mystery. For years, he's been interested in the power behind the Serengeti's grass. Even as soon as he steps foot off the plain, his attention is glued to the floor. He's botanist Professor Hideaki Usuda of Taikyo University, Japan. His research focuses on creating food crops with better harvest. Because the Serengeti nurtures such a great diversity of animals, he hopes to find out how the grass growing here manages to feed so many. The southern area of the plains will be the focus of Professor Asuda's research activity. He is joined by local botanist Richard Ryamner, who knows the region well. The pair get straight down to business. Professor Asuda is keen to establish exactly which type of plants they're dealing with. According to Richard, the grass on the southern part of the plains provides another important requirement in order for herbivores to reproduce. As well as providing food, he believes the wildebeest benefit from the short grasses as it enables them to spot predators over a greater distance. The taller grasses further north don't offer the same security.
They can see the predator from far away.
Wildebeest begin their migration from northern Serengeti to its southern plains in October, 1 month before the rainy season starts. In the north, there is a river that never dries up, offering a year-round water supply. But in the south, grasses with high nutrition grow. This is what triggers the migration. Later, at the start of the dry season, the grasses die and the wildebeest return to the north. Some animals cover over 1,000 kilometers on this grueling annual round trip. The migration has just begun. Eventually, this mass of 1 million animals will gather in the southern plains. But this journey plays a big part in many other animals' lives along the way. This pride of lions has a stable territory. Blood-related females make up the group. They preserve their territory collectively, which is then passed on to the next generation. Females never leave their pride after being born and lead their lives as a tight-knit family. All females lend a hand in raising the cubs. So when it comes to feeding, any teat will do. Male cubs leave the family at around 2 years of age. But one particular male living in this pride is no fresh-faced youngster. This is the only adult male lion living in the territory belonging to the females. He is the father of all the children. The females choose just one male to remain in the group for the sake of producing offspring. This female is on a mission. Hunting is women's work. The youngsters watch as one of their mothers homes in on her target. A hartebeest, a relative of the cow. Little by little, she shortens the distance to her prey. The hartebeest has no idea it's being stalked. Suddenly, it spots the lion and flees in the opposite direction. But this was a trap. Another female lion was waiting for this very move. The success of this hunt was down to teamwork. The rest of the females move in. But someone else wants his share of the bounty. The big male chases the females away. A selfish move against the hard-working hunters. The females allow him to act in such a selfish way as he provides the role of protector for the entire group. In the distance, a herd of wildebeest approaches. When wildebeest enter the home region of territorial lions, it is likely that wandering male lions following the herd will also enter their territory. This mother isn't prepared to take any chances. A wandering male is getting near. He could attempt to take over leadership of her pride. This intruder will try to kill the youngsters in order to start afresh, should his attempted overthrow be successful. The resident male launches into battle with one of the wandering lions. If the pride's protector loses this fight, all his cubs will be killed, and his crown as leader will be lost. His females can only look on. Finally, the intruder gives up. The cubs are safe, and the big male's position as leader is secure. For now. Female lions protect their young by relying on the strength of their resident males. In return for security, they offer the male their kills in order to keep him in the pride. A strategy to ensure their youngsters' survival. But this tactic doesn't always pay off. This mother from a neighboring pride pays the ultimate price following a recent attempted takeover. Researchers have recorded that the number of cub killings by wandering lions reaches its peak when the grass starts to grow. The fresh growth on the plains draws in the wildebeest as well as the following wanderers. The peaceful life of resident lions is often ruined as a result. Professor Asuda continues his field research among the wildebeest. He needs to establish exactly which grasses cover this section of the plain. The initial step is to collect samples. The plants are removed without damaging their roots. He takes as many specimens as possible. On this seemingly uniform plain, many types of grasses grow. It appears the majority of these specimens are narrow-leafed grasses. Maybe it's this that holds the secret to the wealth of life on the savannah. The Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute specializes in wildlife on the plains. Professor Asuda plans to analyze his collected samples at this government-funded laboratory. There are two types of grasses. Both are difficult to identify by their appearance alone. The easiest way to establish which group a plant belongs is to examine the inside of its leaf by slicing it as thin as possible. This cross-section of the leaf Professor Asuda has prepared shows many transparent parts. They're known as vascular bundles and act like tubes to transport water and nutrition. The green donuts are chloroplasts containing cells. It's a clear indication that this is a C4 plant. It is now assumed the vast majority of plants growing on this plain are of the C4 group. The name C4 sounds unusual, but Professor Asuda believes that this particular type of grass is the source of energy responsible for such an immense collection of wildlife. Common plants are known as C3 plants because the primary substance created by photosynthesis is made up of 3 carbon atoms. On the other hand, the substance created first within C4 plants contains 4 carbon atoms. C4 plants have a unique construction within their cell structure that enables them to absorb carbon dioxide much more efficiently than the C3 group. C4 plants can grow several times faster than common plants under strong sunshine and high temperature with appropriate water. The requirement for water in C4 plants is lower than that of C3, so C4 plants are more resistant to dryness. But C4 grasses are a relatively new species. 10 million years ago, the formation of the Great Rift Valley began. 2 enormous faults moved apart, leaving a void 45 kilometers wide and around 5,000 kilometers long. The Serengeti and its surrounding area became extremely dry. The concentration of carbon dioxide also decreased as cold seas absorbed the gas. Under these arid and low carbon dioxide conditions, C4 grasses evolved from the C3 plants and adapted to the new conditions. Most places around the equator are covered by forest. But the pasture of the Serengeti is unique. It is the only place near the equator where these specific grasses grow with such a high density. Leopards originally adapted to a life in the forest, which is why they spend a great deal of time in the savanna's trees. This herd of impala haven't yet spotted the predator hiding nearby. The leopard waits for the right moment to make her move. Stealth is one of this big cat's strongest talents. This time, her mission fails and the impalas escape. The mother calls for her youngster. This cub is around 6 months old. On average, leopards give birth to 1 or 2 young at a time. Just like domestic cats, leopard cubs are extremely playful and forever curious. The mother leads her youngster to the safety of the tall grass. It's time for her to go hunting again. The cub hides in this ditch. It will stay here until its mother returns. Two female lions stroll into the area. They're heading towards the ditch where the leopard cub is hiding. The cub realizes the danger and runs for safety. Leopards are excellent climbers, so it takes refuge up a nearby tree. It reaches a height well out of the lion's reach. The cub will stay here until its mother returns. Night draws in. The mother leopard is still out hunting. This impala has been separated from the rest of its herd. It has no idea it is being stalked. She struggles to overpower this relatively large prey. Biting and covering the impala's mouth and nose, she tries to suffocate it. Finally, it works. But this particular meal is too heavy to drag up the tree. So instead, she signals to her cub to come down from its hiding place. The pair are reunited, and the mother leads her cub to the kill. While the youngster feasts on the massive meal, its mother stands guard, keeping an eye out for any other predators. The gazelle's compact body and thin, elegant legs help make them one of Africa's fastest and most agile grass-eating species. They can hit speeds up to 80 kilometers an hour. Gazelles have adapted to living this fast life and choose to live in herds because of a particular predator pressure. Their most feared enemy is the cheetah. Gazelles prefer to live on plains with short grasses because here they can easily spot cheetahs approaching. Someone in the herd nearly always notices when a predator is nearby. These speedy hunters have their eyes on a meal. As long as the gazelles spot the cheetahs from a distance, they can flee safely. Even when a chase is on, the fastest runners can easily survive. Their adaptation for speed to avoid an attack is constantly being pushed. Cheetahs also continually develop their acceleration and running speed to keep up with the defense development of gazelles. It's a never-ending survival game between the two species. The current battle status gives cheetahs the slight edge in terms of speed. However, it may not be too long until gazelles will outsprint them again. This pasture of C4 grasses provides a hidden power to its residents who never cease to develop dynamically. Cheetah cubs aren't just born super fast. They also receive long and intensive training in order to become speedy hunters. This female's teats shows that she is currently raising cubs. She approaches the deeper grass. A more secluded and safer place for her youngsters. She has 5 cubs. They were born about 2 weeks ago and are around 25 centimeters long. Newborn cheetahs have short legs and large heads. In this form, it's hard to imagine them running at speeds of up to 100 kilometers an hour. It'll take some time until they start showing any signs of becoming high-speed sprinters. In another corner of the plain, a mother cares for her older cubs. These youngsters are around 3 months old and look much more cheetah-like. Their steps are already firmer. Once young cheetahs turn 2 months old, the mother takes them hunting with her. At this age, they're still highly playful. A herd of gazelles lies ahead. The mother's eyes lock onto the group. She creeps towards the herd. The cubs mimic her every move. The mother moves closer. The cubs do the same. She pauses and lowers her stance. This signals the end of the cubs' copying session. Now, it's time to watch. The hunting lesson is over. Following the kill, she calls for her youngsters. The cubs rush forward. The first to arrive immediately bites the neck of the prey. The meal is shared by everyone. The mother is the first to finish eating and decides it's time to move on. Now that everyone is fed, there'll be no more hunting lessons today. After 3 hours of walking, the mother finally decides to rest. Exhausted. Tired, they almost look ready for bed. After just 5 minutes break, their mother is back on her feet. The cubs have no choice but to follow her. They have trekked over 10 kilometers. One week later, the cubs still seem to be doing fine. The daily long walks have had a positive effect on their fitness. Their legs, bones and muscles have strengthened. Walking is the most basic training program in order to become the fastest hunter of all. This type of intensive training continues for nearly a whole year until the youngsters become expert hunters themselves. Professor Isuda continues his research and is keen to observe one of the plane's greatest spectacles. The grass is at its green peak, cueing the arrival of thousands of herbivore youngsters. This wildebeest is about to give birth. The legs are already visible. A newborn makes its first appearance. Immediately it tries to stand up. Thompson's gazelle is also giving birth. body is already up. They seem to know these plains are full of danger. On the savannah, each year is divided into dry and wet seasons. During the dry season, it hardly ever rains. The grass eventually turns brown, but this doesn't mean it's dead. The C4 plants covering these plains bear plenty of seeds, which fall to the ground, giving birth to new shoots. These seeds also... For mice, the dry season is a season of abundant food. But even the mouse has a predator. This serval searches for a miniature meal. Although smaller than a cheetah at 70 centimeters long, it is still a relatively large cat. Large ears allow it to detect the location of the mice. Its hunting technique relies on a particular skill. The exact moment it lands, it pounces on its prey. During the dry season, servals don't need to look too hard for food as the population of mice expands. They therefore coincide giving birth with the grass seeds falling to the ground. Tall grass provides the perfect nursery for young servals. The rainy season begins. Dark clouds envelop the savanna sky. And showers pour down onto the parched plains. These hard rainfalls immediately alter the landscape of the arid land. Eventually, the whole plain becomes one enormous puddle. Surprisingly, these rains fall on a very confined area of just a few square kilometers. This means the sections profiting from the rain continuously move along the path of the savanna. As soon as the rain clouds move on, the intensive equator sunshine lights up the savanna's blanket of plants. This causes a sudden, rapid growth of grasses, which previously appeared dead and dry just a short while ago. These remarkable, fast-growing C4 plants create a brand new green pasture in less than a week. Professor Asuda's work here on the Serengeti draws to an end. It seems animals sense the rainfalls and start to move. By the time they arrive where the rains have fallen, plants have already grown. All this happens within a matter of days. Professor Asuda is now convinced that the driving force behind this incredible mass migration, which in turn supports the big cat population, is the very power of C4 plants themselves. It's incredible to think that something so small can have such an enormous effect on the entire lives of creatures so big. As the big cats and their prey continue to develop ways to outclass one another, these remarkable grassy plains quietly replenish themselves year in, year out. Without these life-fueling plants, none of us would be able to witness such an amazing array of wildlife throughout this unique region.